The Sapphire Fields of Madagascar, a journey to the rush. In the remote highlands of Madagascar, an environmental catastrophe is unfolding in plain sight. Since late 2016, more than 40,000 miners have descended upon this island, drawn by the promise of sapphires buried beneath some of the world's most precious protected forests. From a distance, the landscape still reads as wild, mist curling through canopy and remote ridgelines. But as you move closer, the story changes. What we're about to show you is not a single illegal operation, but a network of makeshift camps and open pits carved into zones that should be inviolate. Norman Monteau, a gemologist based in Los Angeles with over 30 years of experience working at colored stone and diamond mining sites, was tasked with producing this video with support from the General Directorate of Mines, the DGM, and the Madagascar National Parks, formerly known as the N-Gap. The team in this video is multidisciplinary: gemologists to trace the stones, geologists to map the scars, and wildlife biologists to seek the Indri that remain. Our mission is simple and urgent: to document what is happening in protected zones where illegal sapphire mining threatens one of the planet's most unique species, the Indri lemur, and to bear witness to the human and ecological costs of this devastating sapphire rush. The background music is native Malagasy, rhythmic and local. My name is Arthur Weir, a field reporter from Manchester in the UK. I'll be your narrator. The Indri is Madagascar's largest lemur and exists nowhere else on Earth. With its black and white coat and haunting multi-tonal calls, the Indri is both emblematic of Madagascar's isolation and fragile biodiversity. These primates live in tight family groups, raising young amid the canopy and relying on a mosaic of mature forest to feed, travel, and sing. Where once their songs rolled across intact rainforest, those forests are now being sliced into fragments. Illegal and artisanal mining has transformed tracts of protected wilderness into scarred terrain. Pits ringed with spoil heaps, networks of narrow trails, and abandoned mining huts. But the story is not only one of ecological greed, it is also one of profound human need. The sapphire rush is driven by entrenched poverty and a lack of alternatives. For many, the choice is stark: remain in desperate subsistence or risk legal penalty and personal danger for the chance of a single find. That struggle ripples outward. Trees are felled, soil stability is lost, streams are diverted and contaminated. All of these undermine the complex forest structure the Indri depends on. Our scientists and others warn that once connectivity between forest patches is broken, the long-term viability of Indri populations collapses, as they cannot easily adapt to an ever smaller, fragmented home. Our team spent months preparing for this expedition, securing permits, procuring specialized audio recorders to capture Indri calls, GIS units to map illegal pits, soil sampling kits to test contamination, portable camera rigs and drones for night observation. Our team assembled at dawn on the second day: a geologist with satellite imagery, 2 gemologists who could distinguish rough sapphire from ordinary pebbles, and 2 wildlife biologists versed in lemur behavior, working with state-of-the-art drones. We hired local guides whose knowledge of trails and of where the miners move would prove indispensable. The trek into the heart of the affected zone is not a walk. It is a measured, often perilous approach across eroded ridgelines and down into valleys that were once dense with old-growth trees. Along the way, we encountered the first clear signs: stacked spade marks, sluice channels cutting through stream beds, and trails choked with discarded plastic and clothing. Makeshift camps appeared like clusters of memory: tarps, cooking pits, and the lingering smell of smoke. As night fell, the ordinary forest chorus was punctuated by human sounds: laughter, argument, the metallic ring of tools, a dissonance that underscores how close the miners and wildlife now live to one another. We moved carefully, documenting tracks, recording water samples, and setting up unobtrusive camera stations where we hoped to capture several Indri in the remaining canopy. What we found was a cascade of interlinked impacts. The mining itself opens pits that change the land's hydrology. Rainwater collects in deep, oxygen-poor pools, becoming breeding grounds for disease vectors and cutting off natural stream flow. Sediment from eroded soil clouds rivers downstream, smothering aquatic habitats and reducing water quality for local communities. In places, whole slopes have been denuded, leaving hard red earth that sheds during the rains, accelerating landslides and unhitching trees from the soil that once held them fast. Our wildlife biologists tracked Indri movement and found animals pushed into ever smaller refuges, island-like patches of canopy surrounded by a sea of mining scars. Ecological, once a quiet highway stop, became Madagascar's Sapphire capital, a boomtown feeding global demand. Miners target paleochannels, ancient riverbeds, opening small pits, often under a meter across, to reduce collapse risk. Gravel is hauled to nearby streams and washed by hand, sieved again and again for a glint of color. Some pits reach extreme depths, but for most, every spade of gravel is lifted, sifted, and carried under the open sun. Stones are sorted by color and size: pink, yellow, green, blue, and purple. The first step of local production. Most sapphires from Madagascar are quietly whisked out of the country to Sri Lanka and/or to Bangkok in Thailand. Thailand has developed into a world trade center for colored gemstones. Deals happen fast on riverbanks and in town. Some of the streets in town are lined with buyers making deals. Those doing the hardest work, the artisanal miner, often earn the least, while risk remains highest. Ecologica's rivers fill with hundreds of artisanal miners, a livelihood born of necessity, sustained by global appetite. Just beyond town, the Asalo landscape reminds us what is at stake: a fragile ecosystem under mounting pressure. Fresh Indri tracks often led away from mining camps, evidence of disturbance and displacement. Camera traps recorded reduced activity in formerly occupied areas. Vocalization surveys suggested fewer group calls at dawn and dusk, when Indri are typically most active. The ripple effect touches many species. Birds that nest in emergent trees lose breeding sites. Insects tied to leaf litter decline as topsoil is stripped away. Endemic understory plants vanish under compacted, polluted soil. We spoke with miners on the margins, men and women who dug by hand, who heated gravel in makeshift sieves, who sold their finds to middlemen at distant markets. They told stories of a single year of good fortune lifting a family out of debt, of the ever-present fear of eviction and enforcement. Our gemologist examined rough stones and traced supply chains, showing how sapphires rapidly enter international markets. Rough sapphires are usually whisked away quickly to cutting and trading centers in Sri Lanka or Bangkok, creating demand that reaches far beyond Madagascar's borders. Enforcement is inconsistent. Protected area boundaries are porous, and in many cases, local governance is under-resourced or compromised. That leaves ecologically sensitive landscapes exposed. Scientific sampling revealed chemical traces in stream sediments consistent with mining, increased turbidity, elevated nutrient loads, and pockets of contamination where processing occurred. We logged instances where miners diverted streams to sluice beds, altering aquatic connectivity and starving downstream wetlands of water. In one valley, an entire corridor once known for its rich medicinal flora had been reduced to a corridor of pits and footpaths. The scale surprised even seasoned field scientists. Dozens of interconnected pits that together behave like a scarred watershed rather than isolated dig sites. This level of destruction in areas designated for protection forces a hard reckoning. Madagascar's forests are not simply scenery. They are complex systems supporting thousands of species found nowhere else. When those systems are broken, recovery can be slow or impossible within a human lifetime. Our documentation is intended to be precise and incontrovertible. Maps, audio files, soil assays, and witness accounts. So conservationists and NGOs like the Duke Lemur Center, studying the deforestation impact on the lemur, Constructive Voices, and others working on sustainable land management through collaborative efforts to ensure the preservation of sacred sites and the Indri lemur, so that policymakers and international partners will have the clear, comprehensive evidence they need to act. The Indri, with its distinctive calls and intricate social bonds, represents millions of years of isolated evolution on this unique island. To lose it would be to lose an irreplaceable thread in Earth's biodiversity. After 10 days as our expedition winds down, the urgency is undeniable. Without coordinated intervention, the sapphire rush will continue to cleave away habitat and fragment populations. There are no simple answers, but there are multiple fronts on which to act. First, bolster and resource protected area enforcement, while engaging communities as partners rather than adversaries. Alternative livelihoods, sustainable agroforestry, ecotourism rooted in community management, and fair trade gemstone certification schemes can reduce the immediate economic pressure driving miners into protected forests. Second, improve traceability and demand-side accountability in international gem markets, so that sapphires pulled from protected zones do not enrich illicit supply chains. Third, invest in restoration. Replanting native trees, sealing dangerous pits, and re-establishing hydrological pathways can, over time, reclaim damaged watersheds for wildlife. Fourth, support scientific monitoring to track Indri populations and habitat recovery, so interventions can be adaptive and effective. These solutions require political will, funding, and global attention. There is also an ethical imperative to listen to the people who face daily hunger and make sure that conservation efforts do not punish poverty, but instead create viable futures. If the world acts now, combining enforcement, economic alternatives, and market reforms, there is still hope to secure corridors of forest large enough for Indri groups to persist. If not, the Indri's call, once a symbol of Madagascar's wild heart, may grow fainter until one day it is gone forever. The choice, ultimately, remains with us. Production credits. Produced and directed by the Monteau Studios, Atlanta, 2025, with video processing and editing support from TVM in Antananarivo, Madagascar. Acknowledgements. We would like to thank our science team for their effort and passion in making this expedition a success, the local guides, and the communities who shared their homes and stories with us for this video. Traditional Malagasy instruments and rhythms throughout the video, connecting the music to each scene. Production notes. Filmed in the highlands of Madagascar. Conservation data compiled from field surveys, interviews, and help from the AIG Westlake Village, California laboratory analyses. Camera and audio logs, which are archived for research. A white paper will be released by the Foundation in the summer of 2026. For the Indri, for Madagascar, this report was brought to you with support from the General Directorate of Mines, Madagascar National Parks, Air France, and the Norman K. and Sandra L. Monteau Foundation. Stay tuned for our next adventure. We can see it now on the horizon.